Malc and Beans up in the morning, manana. What's up? Man, it's been a crazy week. Um, the one thing that I love most, I've had so many crazy calls. What I mean by crazy, and I know that's very broad, but it's just like the amount of a mix of emotions and highs and lows, and people going through what they're going through, from young to old to pushing, going after their careers, hardships, and it's always hard, but it just, my perspective comes from all of this, like just all of you, everybody, even the comments and everything I see is like, oh man, because like all of my hearts, like I said, I can't handle, even myself, it's hard, right? Pushing through hard times, and whether it's sickness and certain things, and the sickness comes when the biggest projects do, or you feel like all these things are going to crumble. But what I've learned in my life is it's such a waste when we let our brains go into that deep, deep, dark side of things. And then that normally compounds and compounds. And what ends up happening is everything works out. So, how do you adjust that? How do you shift through that? I've been thinking a lot about my career. I had a bunch of jobs as a kid, right? I literally, to get my first car, it was a Nissan Extra Cab truck, $3,000. I worked in my buddy Johnny Conrad's dad's auto repair place. And Johnny, you back this too. Your dad was awesome. And man, this thing was dirty. And your boy Malc was in charge of cleaning the grease and everything all over the place. I'm sure Johnny had to contribute at times too. But I was so humbled. I was so grateful. I had a job. I was getting paid. I think I was getting paid under the table, which is even cooler, right? Sorry, tax system, trying to take my dough. But every single job I worked in produce, I did bagging, I worked in a deli that had the nastiest. It was the first, like, before there was Whole Foods, and so the cheese was all organic, and it was like cement, and so after it melted, it was fine, but then once it dried, I had to do the dishes. And so, these sweet old ladies and everyone, they'd be finished eating, goodbye, and it's like closing time. I'm trying to get out of there. It's 9 p.m. I'm probably like 16 years old, and I'm like, you need like a chisel gun, those things on the streets, like for the cement. I couldn't get it off. Sometimes I'd get so frustrated, I would just drop it. But my first job that kind of led into my career in the clothing industry and the marketing industry and all that stuff was a combo, but no fear. No fear. Like it's gone now. I mean, you see, there's licenses, whatever, and someone in England, I think, bought it. Everyone's been hitting me up lately because, of course, the big thing would be, oh my gosh, we're going to bring back the No Fear motocross gear. Respect to Jeff Sirwall, one of my mentors, the founder of the No Fear MX. That was the greatest time in history at that point. I mean, you couldn't have had a larger icon than Jeremy McGrath. He comes on board. Fox, respect to Jeff Fox and the Fox family and everything. I mean, those guys, pioneers on all levels. But to come in with the impact of having Jeremy McGrath, the dopest gear, Jerome Maj, respect, one of those legendary designers. Skip Norfolk was, working with production development, this and that. I mean, fast, high speed to launch for the Supercross season. So you got McGrath, and then your boy Mal comes in, little dude. I think I'm one of the first 4 employees. So I got to build with them, which was amazing. And the opportunity that Jeff and those guys gave me to kind of really watch a division from the ground up. Don't get me wrong, No Fear, the clothing company, was a $200 million a year t-shirt and hat company, but it had went through some struggles because it kind of lost its cool, lost its edge. So I was putting stickers in like 97 on Jeremy McGrath's jersey, amazing Fox gear, and at the time, and then Fox wasn't really making clothing, so it was like No Fear was the clothing, Fox was the gear, but then Fox obviously had to expand and obviously became a global apparel brand as well. But then that's when No Fear said, okay, well, let's do the gear. McGrath and Sirwall's friendship opened up the gear launch, and man, we came out about as hot as you could come out. And a full circle, I mean, sometimes I go on a little thing, but it's like there's a bigger point to all this. But all these experiences, all the jobs leading into the No Fear. I mean, I started in the warehouse, become, just the climb, the continuous push of just moving forward. If you stop, man, it's like crazy. You're like, oh no, you feel like you're here. If you're not learning and trying and pushing, even in that one job, whether I was packing bags, whatever the case. So, it doesn't matter. You just got to keep pushing. At least that's my advice. It's worked really well in my life. And sometimes it might be a year, it might be two, but everything has created some sort of knowledge, awareness, expertise, experience that has sharpened my sword to then, open up doors with a positive attitude, climb to the next deal. So the gears launch and all that stuff, it blows up, becomes, one of the biggest gear industries, gear companies, gear brands with instantaneously because of that. And then so your boy Malc gets to come in. I end up signing Carey Hart, Mike Metzger. Dude, we had Mike Sinkmars, we had Travis Pastrana, and I'm like signing all these guys, working with all these guys. Then there's the crossover. I had guys, that were in the gear, that were top surfers, skateboarders, musicians, artists, and it just was this insane movement. So the interesting thing is it revitalized the No Fear brand. But then my biggest thing here is the name No Fear. No Fear. The t-shirts are like, a life lived in fear is a life half lived. But the word no fear is so interesting today because it's the biggest thing that everyone talks about. It's like your fear of what that holds you back. Having no fear you could use it in a million different ways. But even myself, it's like, launching a new brand, Mended. Are you kidding me? There's fear everywhere. I've got money invested. I got my time invested. I jump on these things just to kind of spread the love. This is more like out of passion and just having fun with it. Malcolm Beans, baby. But life is scary, but it's much more adrenaline, rewarding, and fun to like try to figure out how to get rid of these fears. And I saw a quote, and it was like, how can you have an old life when it never becomes an old life? Isn't that crazy? You could think you're evolving. You could think you're kind of, going on to the next chapter and moving to the next thing. And it's not, it might be a job, it might be something, but like that's where I was in my head. It's like becoming Mended. It's like, it's a whole combination of things that are important to you. And as all these things evolve, as you sharpen your sword in all these different verticals and areas, that's when it gets really interesting. That's when the fun starts to happen. That's when the people are surrounded by you. So my career at No Fear has been probably one of the biggest blessings, two of them. No Fear, and I raced dirt bikes. I skateboarded, BMX. I could backflip a bicycle, and I grew up around a ton of rad athletes. I'm not even talking like athletes that were superstars, tons of those. I'm talking about guys that were like in my backyard. I had Laban Fadias and Eric Fadias that crushed it. My neighbor had an 8-foot half pipe growing up in Olevenheim, California. Trevor Barber just ripped at skating and surfing and everything. And so I got to watch all these people around me that shredded. I was way worse than all of them. I think I became decent or pretty good at a mix of the sports, but it was fun watching all that. But No Fear was like dropping in on a skateboard ramp, guys. If you've never skateboarded, that's insane in itself. The feeling, the rush, whatever. But when I was really young, like my neighbors would be like, drop in, bro, drop in. And these guys are all like gnarly dudes, long hair, cool looking, just, chicks totally dug them. I'm this like little kid that kind of hadn't really sprouted yet, not until probably 10th, 11th grade. Finally grew 6 foot. What's up, baby? But anyways, like dropping into a ramp, time to breathe. This whole reminder to breathe is all the work you put in, or just the start of getting into something. But the rush at a concert that you get from your favorite band, all these different things in life are this whole thing. But if you never go after them, if you never experience them, you don't really have the perspective. So No Fear, growing up, was probably one of the most insane things, but also racing motorcycles and jumping motorcycles on 50 to 100 plus feet. No Fear is like, you don't think about it sometimes, but it's because you put in the work. And when you put in the work, it's that moment where you're on the starting line, Anaheim 1 at Supercross, and that gate is getting ready to drop. Are you kidding me? Everything you worked for in life is for these moments. But No Fear and Fear, I really have a lot of respect for like Jerry Lorenzo. His faith, his foundation, fear of God and essentials, but fear of God for him is fear of not having God in your life. But take that however you want, if you're universe, meditation, whatever you do, but fear is the biggest word that holds us back. And my big thing that I'm feeling with you guys and everything is just like, what's holding you back? And there's so many different things. And that's why sometimes you gotta go, you gotta breathe. You gotta take a step back. And it sounds like, oh, that's what everybody says. I know everybody says that because I've heard it from Tony Robbins. I've heard it from everybody. But man, when you really take a step back, that breath opens up pathways in your head and your brain, and just and it allows you to kind of sit and go, man, am I in the right lane? Because we don't have to know everything, but No Fear was insane. Dirt bikes were insane. The two to me is like a bridge gap of you know breaking bones but getting back up, falling off the horse but getting back up, and being part of No Fear, the clothing brand, watching a company go from a $200 million company and literally um, selling out, they used to call it, and selling out was just like it went too big too quick, and all the cool people, there's enough of them that says, this is lame. And then so sales, I mean, I couldn't give away a shirt at one point, and there's a warehouse full of like $20 million worth of product, but to watch the brand get revitalized because the motocross gear is such a billboard space, it opened up the ability to take these athletes that were going after their dreams, McGrath, Pastrana, Carey Hart, Mike Metzger, and changing history and almost like setting the bar in sports that didn't even exist. Respect to Deegan and all the guys. I mean, there's a Metzger, there's a whole list. Oh yeah, sorry, Metz, dude, super huge one that we had in No Fear gear as well. The Godfather, but all these guys, they contributed to freestyle motocross. Can you know how much fear must have been there? I mean, the amount of negativity that came in from that, and and what I mean by that is like Pastrana, motocross guy. Oh, Travis, if you saw the amount of attacks like via whatever messaging back then to which is now social media, and how many critics and people come in, Travis, you're wasting your career, you're wasting this and that, you're doing. The poor kid, didn't even drink, was just charging. I'm blessed to kind of watch the inspirational, little TP199, just getting attacked. I'm like, this is like the nicest kid in the world. Everywhere he goes, in stadiums, until the stadium ended, it was me sitting next to Travis signing every autograph. Dude, I mean, I know now Travis, it's a whole different game. I mean, the guy just continued to go. But he got attacked for going after someone. Can you imagine? It would have been so easy to just give up and go, fear. I'm just going to stick with what is. I'm just going to focus on the motocross. He could have been a 2, 3, 4, 5-time champion. I'm not denying that, and that would have been amazing. But his life is his life. He became mended with what was important to him, and he went after it, even though the attacks were crazy. And so this whole fear of and No Fear is I think is the most important thing in life. It's like addressing that, because life is scary. But man, you know what's scarier? Being old and not going after what you love. Oh my gosh, talk about a fear. My biggest fear is sitting there and going, oh, Malcolm, you had all this, God equipped you with all these talents. He gave you all these skills and you didn't listen. No, you didn't listen. I didn't listen at times. I've done a lot of things in my career. The biggest time, the greatest times where I actually had the least success is when I started to listen to the noise, started to listen to everybody. Dude, I have so much respect for everybody, as long as they're not, regardless, but I mean, hopefully that they're finding that they want to have the same feeling and go after it and not have regret. Me, in the end, I did that last day. No fear. Stop the fear. Open up the heart. Open up the passion. Stop hating. Stop judging. Pastrana went on to literally create with, of course, Deegan, Metzger, and a mix of guys, McGrath as well, anyone with, for their love of motorsports, created an entire new category. It's like in music when they're like, oh, I don't really get it. And it's like, no, that's reggae. That's Rasta. That's Bob Marley. Sublime. No, Sublime. Like, dude, I mean, just the legendary music, the legendary artists, the legendary people that dared to push the boundaries. Me, oh, you'll never make an underwear company. You can't do this. I heard from powerful people like that it won't happen. You can't take an accessory into a category in an underwear. It's like the pun of all jokes. Dude, I changed the entire culture by just changing the way people look at underwear. Pastrana changed the entire culture by, changing the way people look at the abilities on a dirt bike. And now there's not one guy, motocross action, dirt bike, dirt rider, all the OGs, Racer X, one of my favorites of all time, Don Mayata, Swap Moto. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, also, in the moto guys too, Moto Playground, all the things I grew up around, Verb Moto, anyone that loves moto, My boy Gypsy, crushing it. Love that guy. Dude, everyone is finding their lane. There's enough lanes. But it's like if you're not finding yours and like figuring that out, no fear. Stop the fear. Get the fear out. The worst fear is actually you not going after. You know what the worst thing is too? You know how much fun it is when you get the chills and you get the excitement and you actually, it doesn't matter the level of what it is, but it's you leveling up. So I was thinking about that, but you can't have an old life if you still live in your old life, in a sense. It's like, the things I've done were great, but everyone's like, well, how could you leave this? How could you move on? Dude, my kid and my family is my number one priority, period. Like I say, to each their own, and I mean this 100%. I just want to see people happy, but I'm going to also call you out like I call myself out if I'm not really happy. This is raw. This is uncut right now. This is just me jumping down in the mornings. I see so many DMs coming in from you guys. And also, it doesn't matter if it's one. Some of these videos have one view. Oh no, I didn't make it. I don't care about the views. I'm just spilling my heart out, Malcolm Beans, throwing those beans out there just because I'm like, man, I know that I wished I had somebody somewhere that I could resonate with. And I might say the same things because I pretty much have probably 10 principles, and they are around spiritual, mental, physical, everything. Like I said, I can't wait to go into more health stuff. I literally have been on regimens for 20 years. I've been cold plunging for 4 years. I've been doing infrared saunas for probably even longer than that, or at least saunas, So it's like, does it make me the healthiest? No. I'll tell you this, and this one actually between the no fear and this. No fear. Stop having a fear to be happy. You can take all the supplements. You can go to Whole Foods and get your broccoli sprouts, and you can do anything you do. Once again, do you. There's no judging on this guy. But if I see you going down a path and you're my homie and I'm going, are you sure? And I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to throw some seeds out there, and I'm going to say, here's a bunch of seeds. Does anything resonate? And that's where it's like Time to Breathe, Mended, A Grateful Thread. They're just seeds. If something connects with you, Time to Breathe, the new pod, all these things are just throwing seeds out there because I'm hoping if something connects with you and it can allow you to go to that next phase in your life, get rid of the fear, no fear. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. That was one of the t-shirts that sold millions. So, I'm encouraging everyone to be happy. I was going to say, I'm sorry, no fear. And please don't have a fear of being happy. And happy means being you and doing what you love. Because if not, the most unhappy thing, in my opinion, that you could do in this world is not just find a way to do what you love and be happy. That is better than Whole Foods. That is better than ashwagandha, maca, all these things together is being happy. Because when you're unhappy and also you're doing the wrong thing, trust me, I've had plenty of sins and plenty of things that I just was growing. I didn't know. I wasn't like, let me go hurt somebody ever. But it's like me growing, as we all do and continue to do on the mend. But that feeling in your stomach, dude, that's affecting your gut. That's affecting your blood flow. That's affecting your circulation. So let's literally dive into facing our fears. Respect to no fear and my career there. And of course, man, I'll jump into Alpine Stars because that was another whole thing. But this one was way too long. I don't even know if I'm going to drop this one because honestly, it went a little crazy. But I got the glow on right now. I'm feeling it. To me, the glow, safety green and safety orange are two of the sickest colors. When you look at them, you can't help but notice them. I don't always go so bold, but accents. Just there's so many little accents and so many little things in life. That one bar or that one hook on a song, that one thing. All it takes is you and a couple of these things to just get you ignited and go. So I'm encouraging you. I don't have this much energy. Look at my eyes, guys. Dude, I'm jumping on this thing unfiltered, beat up. But I'm going after it, and I'm feeling the love, and I'm getting the good responses back. So if this one ends up going live, awesome. It's way too long. I'm looking at the time, so I can't fake it. It's like 19 minutes. I went on a rant. So no fear. Stop the fear. Replace the fear with my excitement to fear of, jump into that fear of what if I don't? And happiness, love, joy, and all that good stuff. On that note, I'm out of here, guys, and I appreciate you. And whoever made it through this whole thing, we family. We got to hang out and have some coffee. All right, Malcolm Beans, we out.